Jamie and his parents had doubts about coming to train with me. After all, he's a hockey player, and I wasn't teaching hockey. I was teaching you how to be the best you could be. He came for a week. His parents were unsure. They wanted him on the ice. They wanted him skating. They wanted him learning how to play the game. He came for 1 week, and he begged his parents to let him stay. Well, I didn't have any room that summer, so he had to go home for about a month and train on his own. But every day he would call, and every week he would call me, and he would say, "Can I come back? Can I come back?" Turns out we had an opening the last 4 weeks, and he came the last 4 weeks, and we prepared him. He came every year after that until he ended up as a professional hockey player. I'm Jungle Jim Hunter, and you're listening to 831 Living Your Best Life, where we inspire participation, communicate precision, and empower performers to podium. And we want to ask you to tell your friends and your relatives and the people you work with to go to their favorite podcast provider or app or junglejimhunter.com and click on the podcast, or go to YouTube and subscribe and download and click on like and rate and review us. And become an 831er is what we really want you to do. It's more than anything else. My desire is to help 831 of you become 831ers. People that make a difference in other people's lives. For those of you that don't know me, this week I've been focused on one thing and what it means to be a success, because one of my good friends had COVID-19. And when he got out, he told me how inspired he was while he was recovering and while he was trying to get through it, listening to the podcast. And if 831 can inspire somebody to make a difference in other people's lives, one kind thing at a time, then it's worth it. And this week I'm focusing on the word success and what it means to be a success and the real definition of success. And we're doing it in a fashion like I do when I train kids, where they come to the Sportology Institute and we have a sign-up sheet that says headshots one-on-one. And I only have so many hours in a day and I only have so many slots. And so they have to get their name down quick. And Jamie was one of those that put his name down real quick. And we made a difference in his life. 2 years later, he was his draft year, and we were going through testing, getting him ready for his draft. And he knew he was invited to the combine, the NHL combine. He was so discouraged because he didn't do well on one of the tests that we did. And this was literally a month and a half to 2 months before he would go to the NHL combine. And when I caught up to him, I found him sitting in the middle of the road crying on this test that we had him to do, that he was supposed to do this run. And he wept and he said, I can't fail. I can't fail. What happens if I'm not good enough? What happens if I get beat at the combine? What happens if I don't perform well enough and nobody drafts me? We had a lot of work to do in Headshots one-on-one with him almost every day to redefine what success was for him. See, your definition of success is the direction you're going. And as my friend who was recovering from COVID-19 reminded me, he wasn't thinking about his definition of success, how much he had done, how much real estate he had sold or made or invested in or built. None of those things. He didn't care about where he lived or what kind of a car he drove. You know what he was thinking about? His children, his grandchildren, his friends. And I want you to really capture a different image of what success is. And so for some of you, if you're not familiar with this story, I want to try and bring it to a focus for you. Look up Sir Nicholas Winton. He had one life to live, and he wanted to live it to the best of his ability. And years after World War II, his wife found buried in a chest in the attic in their house this chest that was full of scrapbooks and pieces of paper and names and photographs of children from Czechoslovakia. Sir Nicholas, explain. Well, he never told anybody what he did. But as his wife dug deep into the whole story and discovered what had happened, he had gone on a ski vacation prior to World War II to Switzerland. And instead of to Switzerland for a ski vacation, he went to Prague, Czechoslovakia. And there he ran into parents that asked him and said, they're taking our children away and they're putting us in camps. Can you take our children? Would you take our children home with you? And Sir Nicholas Winton built a network secretly with safe passage to Great Britain. He had no experience in saving children, but he placed 669 children in homes in Great Britain, giving them an education and a place to live and a chance to find their lives and how they could make a difference in life. And after the Second World War, they could find their families. You see, Nicholas Winton saw a need and did one kind thing he could do and try to save one child, one after another. One of those children was Canadian Broadcasting Corporation reporter Joe Schlesinger. For us older folks, we know who he is. We have watched him many, many times on the national broadcast of the CBC News. My quote for the day: what you harbor, whether fears, doubt, worries, or success, or completion, or victory, is where your ship will eventually dock. What is success? I've said all week I'm going to tell you, well, you're going to have to wait till tomorrow, because I'm going to wrap it all up tomorrow. I'm going to pull it all together, but my goal is that if you're listening, that you would take the time to look up the word success and say, is this really what I want? Because the definitions you'll find in the dictionary today talk about being at the top, being wealthy, being success. Having a successful life is accomplishment. Nicholas Winton didn't even tell anybody what he had done. He was just interested in fulfilling a need and meeting that need. And when he was asked to take care of that need, he did it. Even though he had no experience, no money, no resources, no way to do it. He just did it. 831, live your best life. 831 people did one kind thing after another for this little Saskatchewan farm boy who had a desire to be an Olympic skier. It seems insane to go from the prairies to the mountains. But guess what? I wouldn't have made it had they not helped. I wouldn't have been there had they not stepped in. Write me at jungle.gym@shaw.ca. I'll say it again. Write me at jungle.gym@shaw.ca and tell me what you want to do. Where do you see a need? Or are you going to start today and see a scrap of paper on the ground and pick it up and put it in the garbage because it's where you can start? Are you going to open a door for somebody else? Are you going to throw a bouquet of encouragement and joy to people you meet? Are you going to do one kind thing today? And in the process, live your best life. I hope that by next time we get together, you will have grown. Come tomorrow and we'll summarize the real original meaning of the word success.